Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for staying with KTV2. It's Wednesday night, and it means the program you've been waiting for to the point is right now. Tonight, we are going to focus on pollution. There is nothing quite like opening the door and breathing fresh, clean air, but how clean it is, you are breathing right now. Unless you are a scientist with a chemistry lab at your fingertips, there is no real way of knowing. The gases you are inhaling up through your nose could be slowly killing you. According to the World Health Organization, around 2 million people die prematurely from the effects of the polluted air every single year. Air pollution is a huge problem, and not just for people living in smog-choked cities. Through such things as global warming and damage to the ozone layer, it has the potential to affect all of us. So what exactly causes this major environmental issue, and what can we do about it? Let us take a closer look. China, especially Beijing, and the region itself have a major air pollution problem that reached emergency proportions in winter 2012 and 2013. One of the key contributors to the problem is the very large amount of coal burning in the region and power generations in the region's biggest coal burning sector. To talk all about this, we have this special report. It's all about the elders in China, and stick around, we have a lot more.
People are aware that outdoor air pollution can damage their health, but may not know that indoor air pollution can also have significant harmful effects. U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA studies of human exposure to air pollutants indicates that indoor levels of many pollutants may be 25 times and occasionally more than 100 times higher than outdoor levels. These levels of indoor air pollutants are of particular concern because it is estimated that most people spend as much as 90% of their time indoors. Over the past several decades, our exposure to indoor air pollutants is believed to have increased due to a variety of factors, including the construction of more tightly sealed buildings, reduced ventilation rates to save energy, the use of synthetic building materials and furnishings, and the use of chemically formulated personal care products, pesticides, and household cleaners. Indoor air pollutants can cause long and short-term health effects, especially when concentrations build up. One challenge for researchers today is to increase our understanding of the possible health impacts of being exposed to mixtures of indoor air pollutants at low levels for long periods of time. Some health effects may show up years after exposure has occurred, or only after long or repeated periods of exposure, and thus can be characterized as long-term health effects. These effects, which include respiratory diseases and cancer, can be severely debilitating or fatal. Long-term health effects are associated with indoor air pollutants such as radon, asbestos, and environmental tobacco smoke. Immediate effects, which may appear after a single high-dose exposure or repeated exposures, includes irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat, headaches, dizziness, and fatigue. These immediate effects are usually short-term and treatable. Sometimes the treatment is simply eliminating the person's exposure to the source of the pollution, if it can be identified. Symptoms of certain diseases, including asthma, hypersensitivity pneumonitis, and humidifier fever, can appear soon after exposure to some indoor air pollutants. Indoor air pollutants can originate within the building or be drawn in from outdoors. If pollutant sources are not controlled, indoor air quality problems can arise, even if the HVAC system is properly designed, operated, and maintained. Air contaminants consist of particles, dust, fibers, bioaerosols, and gases or vapor. There are even plants that emit indoor air pollution. You should examine the use of plants to make sure they are not contributing to indoor air pollution. The role of exposure to tobacco smoke via active smoking as a cause of lung and other cancers, emphysema, and other chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases and cardiovascular and other diseases in adults has been firmly established. Smokers, however, are not the only ones affected. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has classified secondhand smoke as a known human Group A carcinogen and estimates that it is responsible for approximately 3,000 lung cancer deaths per year among non-smokers in the United States alone. The U.S. Surgeon General, the National Research Council, and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health also concluded that passive smoking can cause lung cancer in otherwise healthy adults who never smoked. Most organizations today have a smoking policy that precludes smoking inside buildings or in designated smoking areas. Most buildings today are not pollutant-free. Quite often, the health effects of poor indoor air quality can cause illnesses many years after exposure. The time is now to determine what pollutants are in your building system and have a strategy and action plan to reduce or eliminate these exposures.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We are going to talk deeply about the air pollution in the world and specifically in the state of Kuwait. That's why we have Dr. ABDURAHMAN Khan, he's a consultant, and also we have LAYELA ALWADI, Associate Research Scientist. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. I'm going to start with you, Mrs. Al-Awadi. Define the indoor quality and what exactly do you mean about HVAC system? What exactly we're talking about? First, we would like to know about the indoor pollution and outside too.
Actually, indoor air quality, it's very important because people, they spend 90% of their time indoor. You are especially the developing country, in your car, in your office, in your homes. 90% you are indoor and you are breathing the air, and you cannot smell it, you cannot taste it, and you don't know if this is the air, is it good or no. How you will know if it's poor air? Later on, you will
maybe
feel
it's polluted.
Yeah.
That's why you need like a purifier inside the car and also inside your houses. Correct?
It depends.
It depends, like air filter, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But this is why here it comes to maintaining and to control the indoor air is very important and crucial. You have to know what's the air you are breathing. This is good? Later on, if you are not breathing a good air, the symptoms you will gonna feel it later, like fatigue, asthma, sneezing, all these you will gonna feel it later because of the poor air quality. HVAC system, actually it's stand for heating, ventilation and air conditioning system. This HVAC system, you have to control it because it controls the temperature, relative humidities, the air circulation through your building. You have to maintain it. If you didn't clean, for example, there is a filters. If you didn't clean it periodically, it will release a pollutant inside your home, inside your office. This is why it has to be some inspection to your HVAC system. This is the meaning of HVAC system, heating, ventilation and air conditioning system.
What do you think, Dr. ABDURAHMAN Khan? You are a consultant. I guess that you concur with everything that she has said, but we have something else to talk about here, the sick building syndrome.
HVAC.
This is something new, and there are symptoms for that. Sick building syndrome?
Yes.
Sick building syndrome.
Sick building syndrome is associated with large buildings which are compact and they are not exchanging fresh air that much. So the air enclosed, that keeps three types of pollutant which are generated inside the building. Some infiltrate from outside to inside, and the third type which are mainly from humidity and wet environment where there is microbial growth like bacteria, spores, fungi, fungi and dropping of insects and birds.
Oh,
that can
that
generate.
sounds scary. He can die instantly.
Well, HVAC system, as Mrs. ALWADI explained, it is for the comfort of the occupants and their performance, because we need to control the environment to have a degree of comfort for the occupants. So degree of comfort can be controlled through HVAC system, either in very cold, harsh environment, either very cold or very hot environment. In Kuwait, we have got the other extreme, while in European or American countries, northern countries, where they have extreme cold. So over there, heating is required. In our case, we require cooling.
Cooling.
Yes.
That's
So
different.
this is the performance of HVAC system. But whenever we have large buildings, now our shopping malls, our educational institutions, our
All they
recreational
have cooling systems.
all we have got large buildings, and we control the air by very confined building environment. So in that case, if the air quality is not good, we will have absenteeism, the quality of the work what we are expecting, the output will be reduced, and also we face the difficulties, health difficulties,
Breathing
which
shortness.
Okay, let's turn to Mrs. Al-Awadi right here. He raised a very interesting subject. We're talking about the cooling system in our buildings, in our shopping buildings, and etc. So in your own house, how can you manage the air? How can you make it like breathable?
First, it has to be awareness. Here in Kuwait, unfortunately, we don't have awareness about indoor air quality. You have to increase the awareness about and knowledge about indoor air quality. Then they will understand what type of pollutants in their homes indoor. If they understand what is the type of pollutant, then they will know how to control the pollution. For example, there is sometimes pollutant, which is I will gonna speak about the common pollutant, which cause cancer to the people. One of them, it's volatile organic compounds. These are 1,000 of it. You can find it in clinic product, and some of them it come from the vehicles, the exhaust vehicles from outside to inside. Some of them linked to cancer, like Petix, benzene, xylene, toluene. And the famous one, it's called formaldehyde. This is, you can find formaldehyde.
That means? What does it mean exactly?
it's a chemical.
It's chemicals.
Chemical.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
chemicals. You can find it a lot.
And it's toxic. It's not safe for human being.
Some organization, they said it's a possible human cancer. One organization, it said it's group A and carcinogen to human.
And you find it in the air?
No, inside your furniture.
In
the wood.
furniture?
Yes, in
That's
wood.
terrible.
Especially in your furniture, in wood. You know?
He's looking at me and he wants to add something. He's
Yeah.
so anxious. Go ahead.
About
What is it?
formaldehyde.
I was just mentioning, as Miss Layla has just pointed out, formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is emitted from the furniture, new furniture, carpets, glue, adhesives. So it is very common in our refurbishing apparatuses which we use in our houses. And its presence, we can feel it from new car. If you buy, the smell in the new car that is formaldehyde.
No, honestly, this is the best smell in the world.
This is
brand new car.
This is the formaldehyde.
This is killer. This is
Yes,
fatal.
it is going to cause upper respiratory systems problems, you see, which is the cancer carcinogen for upper respiratory system.
Now, how can we eliminate this odor from the car or the furniture? How can we kill it all before we let it enter our houses?
The only best way is to aerate it, ventilate it. The natural way of clearing the things is ventilation. But because of degree of comfort is important for us, we have built in our HVAC system 10% fresh air intake. But when we come at noontime, temperature is 50 degrees Celsius and we enter into the house, first thing we do, we close this fresh air intake to have better cooling and to have the temperature which is quite comfortable. So in that case, the awareness completely gone. We are just closing fresh air intake and recirculating that polluted air again and again, 100%, which affects and which causes this sick breathing syndrome.
We have a human being assassins, and we can see it on the movie, and we can watch it everywhere, and we can hear about it. But what about this one here, the silent killer? Somebody said there's something in the air, it's polluted, they call it the silent killer. What is it, doctor?
Silent killer is a gas which is colorless, odorless, and it is very common. In 2012 statistics in US, they stated 436 people died every year due to this gas inhalation.
Lord have mercy. That's a large number.
Yes, and in the start of this millennium, which is 2000 and onward, almost 6,000 people in US has died because of this gas. Now, this gas is carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide, that comes from the cars, doesn't
This
it?
comes from the cars, this comes from our own kitchen, wherever we have heating or ignition source, it produces carbon monoxide from coal, gas, oil, from fossil fuel. Now in tents, in our Diwaniya, in winter, we try to close and carbon dioxide build up because of this coal burning.
From the coal, burning the coal.
Burning the coal.
For heating purposes.
For heating purposes,
Yes.
and also making coffee there, because I visited a couple of Diwaniya and I was served with cup of nice coffee, Arabian coffee.
Yeah, Arabian coffee.
But of course, I was trying to sit near the window to open it, but everybody was insisting on closing that.
So you are smart enough to sit close by the window. Where the ventilation is available for you.
Exactly.
And everybody else is dying slowly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did not caution them. He left it to die.
No, we want to inform people that whenever we have got carbon source and it is a winter, try to please ventilate. And if you do not ventilate, then of course
That's
we will have
happens,
where
it happens, yeah.
that's where Al-Awadi comes here. What do you think about him? What about the cold? Because in the winter time, and especially in camping, we love to light up the coal and to gather around and enjoy the moment. What exactly we need to tell the viewers not to do so and so during this period of time?
They're not supposed to close, if it's Diwaniya, not supposed to close the door.
Leave it
and the
open.
windows, and they sleep with this coal, it's, you know,
Next to
Burning,
it.
yeah,
burning.
next
Yes,
to them.
next to it.
This is one thing. And in the garages, if you heard in Kuwait, a lot of people died because they opened the engine and start and everything gets
Ideal
closed.
engine
Yeah.
produces
And it
carbon
was
monoxide.
produced and CO, it replaced oxygen. This is why they
When
died.
it is inhaled in the body, it goes into the hemoglobin. In the place of oxygen, carbon monoxide goes there, and it will starve the blood from oxygen.
So
And
to support your comment, as well as Mrs. Al-Awadi, we have a report about the outdoors pollution. Let's watch it and come back with you.
Right. Thank you very much.
Carbon monoxide. It is a gas that can't be smelled, tasted, or seen, and virtually all industries count carbon monoxide among their potential hazards. It may arise unexpectedly as the result of incomplete combustion of carbonaceous material, or carbon monoxide, abbreviated CO, may be generated as a normally occurring byproduct of decomposition. The incidence of carbon monoxide poisoning is unusually high in automobile maintenance garages, foundries, blast furnaces, and certain chemical processes where it is used as a base chemical or generated as a waste product. CO is also a threat in non-industrial settings. For example, many people have died when exposed to high concentrations of carbon monoxide gas from automobile exhaust and from using kerosene and wood-burning stoves in poorly ventilated rooms. In fact, CO is one of the most common chemical killers both in industry and the home. As early as 1970, it was estimated by the National Safety Council that 1,600 people died from CO poisoning, and at least 10,000 others suffer each year from exposure to the debilitating effects of CO. Many cases, both fatal and non-fatal, remain unreported or incorrectly diagnosed. Symptoms of CO poisoning may be easily confused with the onset of a cold, flu, or other common disorders. In addition, CO aggravates other conditions, such as heart and respiratory problems. One of the reasons why CO is such a severe hazard is that, next to carbon dioxide, it is the single most frequently encountered contaminant in polluted atmospheres. The chemical characteristics of CO also contribute greatly to its potentially lethal effects. By itself, carbon monoxide is not detectable by sight or smell, since it has neither color nor odor. Often the physical symptoms of CO are barely noticed by the victim, and by the time the symptoms become pronounced, the victim is not able to recognize the danger or to form coherent plans for escape.
We are right back, and we are still talking about pollution. Let's go back to Layela Al-Awadi. She is an associate research scientist. Let's go back to the same thing that you have not completed your answer. How can we manage the indoor air quality?
Okay. Actually, there is a lot of common indoor air pollutants. I didn't mention it, but the common one, as I said first, about volatile organic compound, formaldehyde. The second one, it's cigarettes.
Cigarettes?
Which it contains all these pollutants. It contains CO, formaldehyde, volatile organic compound, DDT, arsenic, all these inside this smoke. Yeah, this is one thing. If other things, asbestos, if you heard about asbestos, it was in 1950 and 60, it was inside every home's industry. Actually, asbestos is a materials used to coat the boilers and the pipes to prevent it from the heat. It's as insulator. Also,
Insulator, as well as it is
fire
retardant. So in case of any fire.
What do you mean by that, fire retardant? What is
fire retardant, whenever there is a fire happening, it will not let it to spread.
It kills it instantly.
Instantaneously.
Yes.
This is wherever we have risk of fire, we will put these things as insulation.
Actually, they put it in, they used it in the ceiling tiles, roof tiles, floor tiles, and these asbestos fiber, when it's decomposed, it's a release fiber which is it's caused lung cancer. They internationally, now it's stopped and it's illegal.
Completely banned.
Yeah, completely it's bad.
Okay.
This is what also.
And the second important one is
radon.
Radon gas.
Yeah,
Radon.
Radon gas also.
From where it comes?
Yeah,
Okay,
radon.
Dr. ABDURAHMAN, let's talk once again, and I'm not satisfied with your first answer. I need more evidence about the sick buildings. What exactly do you mean about sick buildings?
When we call it sick building, that as any occupant enters into the building, he feels headache, he feels cough, he feels watery eyes, he feels stress. So all these symptoms which you feel when you are in the building, when you leave the building,
we feel better.
They slowly disappear. So that we related to the sick building syndrome. And from where it comes, you have already two types of stresses: physio-social stresses. Physio-social stresses is my physical body. I have got some problem with my health, and this is my physical stress. And the social stress.
You mean you're feeling depressed and you're feeling your body is weak and you're aching all over.
All over.
It's
yes.
because of the polluted air that you are breathing inside your apartment or your houses.
Yes.
So, and the best thing to do is to open windows and have ventilations all over the place.
Exactly. That is fresh air. It will heal up everything.
Once every day or maybe twice during the day?
Well, in our buildings, we have got this American Society of Heating and Ventilation Systems. They have put the standards for any building. It should be 15 cubic feet per minute for one individual, per person.
Right.
So this should be the rate of ventilation.
That's more scientific. I don't think you can enforce this everywhere. No.
But
No,
if, for
At
example,
least
if
they
you are
let
in
them open
office,
the
there is a
windows.
20 cubic feet. And if you are in the,
Who's going to measure
No,
20
I
cubic
tell you,
feet?
I tell you a practical way.
Hey.
In the summer, even if the air conditioner is opening, open the window at least 1 hour.
In the summer?
In the summer. It's
Summer
hard
instead of
season,
Kuwait?
Yeah.
In July?
One
July,
hour.
yes.
Yeah, in July. 1
Okay.
hour.
Wait a minute. In July, the temperature, the highest temperature, it's around 48 to 51.
No, 1 hour. This is for
1
your
hour.
health.
What
To
about the
ex-
wait a minute, what about the air conditioner? When you open the window just like that, the air conditioner is going to be ruined because
No,
it
no, 1
works on
hour.
thermostat.
They told us when we asked this is mechanical people, if they open the window 1 hour, nothing happens.
You sure?
We asked, yes.
If anything goes wrong, we
You
will
come
come to you. You pay for the bill.
no, but there is another way to explain about this 15 cubic feet, that you can renew the whole air in the building 3 times in 24 hours.
Yes.
3 times.
3 times. So the
That's what you need to
ventilation,
do.
yeah, ventilation you should maintain. That whole air must be changed in the building 3 times.
This is scientifically.
Okay.
but
Second-hand smoke, Al-Awadi,
Yes.
if you allow me. Second-hand smoke, it's a major killer for human being.
Yes.
And you will be smoking a cigarette like a 70%, just like opposing to the 100% of the smoker himself. Correct. Now, the state of Kuwait imposes a law to forbid everybody to smoke indoors, specifically inside the ministries.
Yes, this
so
is
you
not
support that?
good. Yes, of course.
What about in public? Do you support that for make it more strict for smokers to smoke in public? They have a designated area to smoke. What do you think?
I hope they will put
No,
rules
we
to
want to implement this definitely for the sake of the health of all the nation. We need to restrict public smoking only into the restricted areas where they are allowed.
No.
Otherwise, in general places where we have either shopping mall or we have offices and other buildings, they should not smoke at all.
They shouldn't. What do you think, Alama?
Yes, of course.
You support that?
Yeah, I support that. Even the smokers in their home, I prefer that don't smoke in front of your family. Go out. It's better. If you cannot control it.
Bad habit
Yeah.
because
Don't in front
children
of
will
your
pick it up from you.
Yes. And harm them. It's harm.
They are killing
all-
themselves and they are also
Yes.
promoting to the others as well.
Yes. Yes.
Final comment from you, because we have reached our final moments with both of you. It was very enlightening. From final point.
Well, I would prefer that whatsoever we have, we are going to live in large buildings in future as the population is growing. The cities are becoming vertical, and in these large buildings, we need to control air quality at all times for the healthy, productive, and happy living.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us. And I hope that everybody have enjoyed these wonderful and informative information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We would like to thank our first guest. It was Dr. ABDURAHMAN Khan. He was a consultant, and also LAYELA Al-Awadi, Associate Research Scientist. You're still with us to the point. We're talking about pollution. Now we are going to watch a small report. It's all about the most healthy country in the world. Enjoy. Welcome back, and this is the second segment of All About the Pollution, and we have one of the distinguished gentlemen in the state of Kuwait, and he is Dr. MUFREH ALRASHIDI, Associate Research Scientist, Christ Decision Support Program. Thank you so much for being with us. You have a long title, and I think I'm missing something. Go ahead, finish it off. Go ahead.
Thank you for giving us the time to present our topic regarding air pollution.
Air pollution.
And it is indoor, like just now, Ms. Layla and Dr. Khan present, and outdoor.
And they were your colleagues, weren't they?
Yeah, they are my colleagues.
Okay.
First to tell you about myself and the audience. My name is Dr. MUFREH ALRASHIDI. I'm from Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research. I work in the Crisis Decision Support Program in the Environmental Life Science Center. And even my colleague, which is just the present problem of indoor and how to control the indoor air pollutions.
Okay. Let us talk about the pollution in general.
In general, yes.
What is it?
First, let us define what is air pollution. Now, air pollution is the presence of any contaminations or any contaminant gases in air above an accepted limit. These gases might be gases, it might be particulated, it might be mist, like emission from stacks, emissions from cars, emission from any source of pollutions. So the air pollution is the precise definition as US EPA, the Environmental Protection, US American Environmental Protection Agency, defined as, or in scientifically defined as, a presence of a contaminant more than an acceptable limit that can cause damage to the environment, to the human health, to the plants, to the living organism, even any other living organism, or even to the building itself, like make corrosions. This is the general definition of the air pollution. It might be gases, it might be particulate, like dust, which is coming to us. It might be mist, like
humidity.
Humidity.
Yes.
Sometimes the humidity attach something. This is in general the air pollutions. When it's come to the air pollutions, when we say air pollutions, all the organizations in the world put a standard limit.
Good. This is exactly what I need to know. The criteria of the amount of the pollution that we have in our air.
Yeah. Now, all legislations, environmental legislations, US EPA, Kuwait Environmental Public Authority, also they have putting rule for the air pollutions, and they put something. There is a standard law, which is, we call it criteria air pollutants. There is a fixed criteria air pollutant. I can define them like sulfur dioxide. These are should be monitored. Should be monitored by all country, by Kuwait, by Saudi Arabia, by GCC country. All countries should monitor this one to protect their publics, and they call it in air pollution, and call it the criteria air pollutants, or the principal air pollutants. These are sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide (H2S), hydrocarbon, but it's not criteria. They use it for ozone.
The ozone layer.
No, ozone.
Ozone.
There is two definitions of ozone: bad ozone and good ozone. We need ozone in the upper stratosphere, in the upper, to protect us from ultraviolets. But we don't need it in the ground here.
You don't?
Yeah,
but we have it.
Yeah, we have it. It's a secondary pollutant. Now we have SO2, H2S, CO, CO2. Sometimes can cause pollutants. NOx, and there is two terms of NOx.
What's NOx?
NOx is nitrogen oxides. It have nitrogen.
And it's toxic.
Yeah, it's not toxic.
It's not toxic.
I will come to this point.
Okay.
NOx have two types. NO2, which is nitrogen dioxide, and nitrogen monoxides. Add to these principal pollutants or criteria pollutant the ozone, which is generated as byproduct by reaction in atmosphere. It is not emitted directly, but when NOx and hydrocarbon come to the ambient air, the sun reach to these two pollutants under heat, especially in our environment in Kuwait, it's converted to ozone. They call it secondary pollutant. This is the general definition of the criteria pollutants.
Okay.
And all the agencies should monitor this one.
I don't want to spend too much time because we are almost out of time. We need to cover more things. We have something to see. It's ambient air in Kuwait compared to Earth. What is it? What is that?
Again, ambient air.
Yeah, in Kuwait.
In Kuwait.
When you compare it to other
Yes,
countries.
now, generally in our country,
Yes.
the ambient air,
Yes.
ambient air mean the surrounding air.
Surrounding air.
Or the air pollution in general. It's not in the indoor, it's in
Okay.
the outdoor.
Outdoors.
Kuwait compared to the other country, as a scientist, we compare ourselves to our regional. Because we
The
have
GCC
the
country.
GCC country,
Yes.
because we have a special environment.
That's
we
correct.
are hot, arid environments, desert climate. We are in a desert climate different than the European.
Okay.
So we have a different type of pollutant than other.
Not to mention the oil fields around us.
Different, because the climate is different. So ambient air, the ambient air in Kuwait compared to the GCC country, more or less same.
It's the same, almost the same.
It's same, more or less same.
Okay.
The contaminated, the air pollutions, we almost, I have a question come. How is the air pollution in Kuwait? There is nothing called air pollution unless you do the study and see how much the concentration of the monitored pollutant. Is it within the allowable limit or above or below the allowable limit? There is a limit. You go and monitor and see. If from all our study, even from the monitoring stations that Kuwait EPA have, they actually, we appreciate it here, Kuwait EPA, because they have fixed stations. They distribute it among all Kuwaits, and they continuously monitor the air pollutants.
Okay.
And actually, we don't have the problem or a panic of air pollutions like if you speak about India, Delhi.
Maybe China.
Or China, Beijing.
China is worse.
This is worse because there is two parts. There is a climate and the public, too much car emissions. Also, we have sometimes a problem in summer, which is the car. The car, our problem is car, traffic.
Okay,
and
Doctor,
emissions.
so we'd like to cover everything in this interview because we are almost out of time. We have a report, since you mentioned China and India, we're going to go into have a connection between health and the pollution and who's worse with this report. So let's watch it together.
With a life expectancy of 81.5, the Netherlands is widely regarded as the highest standard of living in the world. This is relatively due to the country's low prices. Canada is number 9, where average of life expectancy is 82.5. Australia comes 8th with average life expectancy of 83. No wonder Australia has the best health insurance in the world. Switzerland is 7 in the list. Life expectancy is 82.8. At 6 is Germany, where Germans pay 11.3% of the country's GDP on health care. At 5 is Finland, where the government launched a campaign 30 years ago on promoting healthy living style and fruits and vegetables intakes. Number 4 is Sweden, where the government emphasized on promoting use of bicycle over cars to stay active and decrease pollution in the air. At 3 is Iceland, where air pollution has the lowest rate. At 2 is Japan, due to the large variety of nutrients and vitamins intakes and less polluted environment. The first healthiest and long-lived people in the world are sanitarians of Koniwa Island, thanks to good eating habits and of course less polluted air.
Okay, we're still talking about the pollution in the state of Kuwait, and you have mentioned that it's when you compare it to our sister countries like the GCC, it's more or less the same. which is okay to live in the state of Kuwait and the GCC. There's nobody's perfect, not even the countries in the whole world, not even the United States. And the worst, like latest studies, they show the worst places in the world, like you mentioned, like China and India. What about the state of Kuwait, and what is the latest studies about the best, we're not going to say the best, but about the air pollution in the state of Kuwait?
Honestly, let us tell you what we are done in Kisars. A long time ago, there is a problem, it's well-known problem, that's Ali Sabah al-Salam urban community area.
Yes.
It has a panic, it's public panic, media panic, even governmental panic. It's put the pressure in the parliament and Prime Minister, that's, we are dying in the cities.
So was it true?
This is the issues. People, they are sometimes scared from the air pollution. When you go and inspect the issue, you find nothing. We do our studies in Kuwait for Environmental Public Authority. They fund us as a Kuwait Institute a study, and we spend almost 3 years to study that area. We go as Kuwait Institutes, we put all
you can
monitors.
see it on the air right now. You see the red.
You can see this the map. This is the map of the pollutants. This is the southern part of Kuwait. We study all the type of pollutants.
Okay, what about the red area? What does it mean?
This is the refinery. This is the refinery area. The refinery area. Almost any industrial area, it have some emissions. Red mean not bad.
It's not.
But if you look at the map, there is a numbering. Numbering mean is within the standard. As a scientist, when we monitor something, we see, do we reach the level which has exceeded the standard or below standard? All our finding was below the standard.
Below
the standards.
It's about average.
It's below standards. And if in the map, which is showing, just presented, that's ALMALHEM area, which is, we study ALMALHEM, AHMED. We put all the monitor, we cover all the southern part of Kuwait.
You compare each area to others.
Each area to others.
Now,
if somebody say that my area is very bad,
it's not.
And I need to compare his area.
You can see it right now, right on there. You can see it.
If somebody say that's my area is very bad, as a scientist to do the studies, I'm comparing his area to who's non-complaining regarding the pollutions in the air. Okay, and if we have found it that it's better than them, that there is something psychology's effect, because they are seeing the refinery, they are seeing this is we call it visuals pollutions. They are seeing the refinery, seeing the factories, so psychology affecting that we are polluted. But it is honestly, when you go monitor, not that
catastrophic.
Not that reason can evacuate the area. Not the reason. This is like what we are. Honestly, the worst air condition in Kuwait is in Mansouriya. This is
in the heart of the land.
Yeah, no, because we are in the middle of the city, and all the traffic, cars, and emissions from
the air, just like that.
Circles. Not mean that it is very polluted, but it is more concentrated compared to the other cities, ALMALHEM and others. This is well documented, well studied, well known, and as Dr. Khan and Layla present, there is an interaction
our
between
first two guests.
Yes. There is an interaction between the indoor and outdoor. Our scare, that's when you open the window, when you air conditions, that the outdoors come. But the problem, if it's come inside, it's built in. Built in and accumulated. Like, it can concentrate it inside the building. That's why they ask you to put the ventilations. Okay. My advice, especially in our country, here,
that would be your final thoughts, because we are almost out of time.
My advice, especially in country, we are dust area. Our problem is with the dust, particulated emissions.
It's worse than the pollution itself.
This is because it causes problem. It causes asthma. And the GCC country have a problem, nationwide problem, which is the particulated matter and the dust. My advice to the public, when they get dust storm, please wear the mask. This can help a lot to reduce the asthma effect. This is the area where we are, and we have a dust, so we need to protect ourselves from this dust. It's a natural dust, actually. It's not a case, but it
And
causes
guess
the
what? We
asthma
are in
people.
the dusty season right now. We call it
That's why I
now
alerted the people.
Sarayat, and then
Sarayat, yeah.
after that we have June and July is the worst season for dust, the sandstorm.
Sandstorm.
And then after that we have humidity, like for in August and in September. Where exactly are we gonna go?
No, it's just no. If you go to Japan, you will see the people in the street wearing masks.
Yes.
It's
Japan,
it's,
China.
It's a culture.
I
It's
know.
a habit.
It's a habit,
It's,
yes.
It's educational.
That's correct.
In country, we don't educate our childrens and junior nations how to protect themselves against any problems. Especially, and we are a dusty area. We need to make it a cultural habit within the country. That's teach the young generation at the school. If you have a dust storm, breathe, wear a mask and protect yourself against that. To reduce a lot of
Dr.
problems.
Al-Rashidi, you are putting a lot of good words, honestly, and good information. So you can promise us to come back again.
Finally, I need to close. Our environment in Kuwait is very good, and there is no problem. Even in the indoor, scientists sometimes when they explain something, they look at to the deep point and might arise something which is sometimes scare the audience.
Causes
Actually cause the panic because they are looking for detailed things.
I know.
No, in general speaking, air pollution is not that big a problem in Kuwait. Even in the indoor, sometimes we find the smaller problems and we try to solve it. It can be solved. It's not nothing cannot be solved.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
We would like to thank Dr. MUFREH Al-Rashidi, Associate Research Scientist, Crisis Decision Support Program. Thank you so much for being with us.
Welcome.
Well, with that, we have come to the end of the program for tonight. Make sure to join us once again next Wednesday at 8 o'clock right here. The program is To The Point on KTV2. Until then, keep on watching KTV2. Bye-bye and good night.